The Curse of Black Hollow. A ghost story you won't forget. In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains lay Black Hollow, a secluded valley shrouded in a veil of mist. Known for its dense forests and eerie silence, it was a place where time seemed to stand still. Locals spoke in hushed tones about the valley's dark history, tales of sorrow, tragedy, and a lingering curse that haunted the land. For generations, the villagers of nearby Ravenswood had avoided Black Hollow, believing that those who ventured into its depths never returned the same. The legend of Black Hollow was as old as the hills that surrounded it. It began with the story of a woman named Eliza Hayes, a resident of Ravenswood known for her beauty and grace. Eliza was said to possess a heart full of kindness, and she often ventured into the forest to help those in need. But one fateful autumn evening, her fate changed forever. Eliza had gone missing after a trip to gather herbs. The townsfolk searched the woods for days, but she had vanished without a trace. It was not until the leaves turned crimson that her lifeless body was discovered near the old stone bridge, her expression frozen in fear. Some claimed she had encountered a vengeful spirit, while others whispered about a malevolent force that lurked in the shadows of Black Hollow. From that day forward, the valley became synonymous with despair, and a curse was said to hang over the land. Fast forward to the present day. The legend of Black Hollow was now a subject of fascination for thrill-seekers and urban explorers. Among them was a young woman named Claire, a college student studying folklore and mythology. Claire had heard the stories of Black Hollow and, intrigued by its haunted reputation, decided to document her experiences for her thesis. Armed with a camera, a notebook, and her indomitable spirit, she set off to unravel the mystery of the cursed valley. As Claire approached the entrance to Black Hollow, a sense of foreboding washed over her. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows that danced along the forest floor. She took a deep breath, reassuring herself that she was merely a researcher. "Just another adventure," she muttered under her breath. The rustling leaves and distant hoots of owls surrounded her as she stepped into the woods, the air thick with the scent of damp earth. The first night in Black Hollow was uneventful, though Claire felt an unsettling presence lurking in the shadows. She set up her camp near the old stone bridge, where Eliza's body had been found. As she prepared her gear, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Ignoring her instincts, she set to work documenting her surroundings, snapping photos of the gnarled trees and strange rock formations. As night fell, Claire built a small fire and settled in with her notebook. The flickering flames provided little warmth against the chill creeping in from the forest. The stillness of the night was punctuated by the occasional snap of twigs, causing her heart to race. "It's just wildlife," she assured herself, but the shadows seemed to grow closer. Sleep came reluctantly, haunted by dreams of Eliza's anguished face. Claire awoke to the sound of soft whispers, like a distant lullaby weaving through the trees. Heart pounding, she sat up, straining to hear. The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices rising and falling like a haunting melody. Fear gripped her, but curiosity urged her to follow the sound. She slipped out of her tent, clutching her flashlight, and ventured deeper into the woods. The beam of light danced across the underbrush, illuminating the twisted roots and the ghostly silhouettes of trees. The whispers beckoned her, and as she walked, the temperature dropped, and a thick fog enveloped her. Claire felt a chill crawl up her spine, but she pressed on, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and dread. The whispers led her to a clearing where the fog seemed to swirl with purpose. In the center stood an ancient oak tree, its gnarled branches stretching toward the sky like skeletal fingers. Beneath it lay a small, weathered grave marker, its inscription barely legible. "Here lies Eliza Hayes." It read, "Lost but never forgotten." Claire's breath caught in her throat. The realization washed over her like icy water. This was the very spot where Eliza's life had ended. As she knelt to examine the grave, a sudden gust of wind howled through the clearing, and the whispers intensified. "Leave this place," they seemed to warn. "Leave while you still can." Startled, Claire stumbled back, feeling an overwhelming sense of dread. She turned to flee, but as she did, the ground beneath her feet trembled. The trees around her creaked and groaned as if awakening from a deep slumber. Panic surged through her, and she sprinted back towards her camp, her flashlight flickering wildly as she stumbled over roots and rocks. Reaching her tent, Claire dove inside, her heart racing. She pressed her back against the fabric, trying to calm her breathing, but the whispers still echoed in her ears, growing louder and more frantic. "Help us! Help us!" they cried. Determined to uncover the truth, Claire spent the following days investigating the valley, interviewing locals in Ravenswood and delving into old newspaper archives. She learned more about Eliza's tragic fate and the town's superstition surrounding Black Hollow. Many believed that the spirits of those who had perished in the valley lingered, unable to move on due to the unresolved anger and sorrow that bound them to the land. One evening, Claire discovered an old journal in the town's library, written by Eliza's sister, Margaret. The journal detailed the sisters' close bond and Margaret's anguish over Eliza's disappearance. It also hinted at something darker, a family secret that had been buried for generations. The final entries were frantic, speaking of a hidden truth that could release Eliza's spirit and the others trapped in Black Hollow. Claire knew she had to return to the valley and confront whatever darkness lay there. With Margaret's journal in hand, she headed back to Black Hollow, determined to find the answers that had eluded her. The air was thick with tension as she approached the old oak tree once more, the whispers still haunting her mind. Underneath the tree, she set up a small altar with flowers and stones she had collected. Taking a deep breath, she spoke aloud, "Eliza, I'm here to help you. I want to understand. Please, reveal your truth." As the words left her lips, the ground trembled, and a brilliant light erupted from the earth. Claire shielded her eyes, and when she opened them, she found herself surrounded by swirling shadows that took the form of spectral figures. Faces filled with sorrow stared back at her, their eyes pleading. "You've come to help us?" One voice, soft yet resonant, echoed through the clearing. "We are bound to this place by the curse of our unfulfilled lives." Claire felt a chill run down her spine but stood her ground. "What do you need from me?" The specters began to weave a narrative, their voices rising and falling like the wind. They spoke of betrayal, heartache, and the consequences of secrets kept for too long. Eliza had been a victim of jealousy, a cruel act that had led to her untimely death. The pain of betrayal had tainted the land, trapping the spirits in a cycle of grief. "Release us," the voices implored. "Break the curse." Claire understood what she had to do. Inspired by the love and sorrow of the spirits, she made a promise to share their story, to reveal the truth behind Eliza's tragic end. She would write it down, honoring their memories and ensuring they would not be forgotten. With her heart full of resolve, Claire spoke again. "I will tell your story. You will not be forgotten." As she finished her declaration, the light surrounding the figures brightened, illuminating the clearing in a warm glow. One by one, the specters began to fade, their faces transforming from sorrow to peace. The whispers grew softer, a gentle wind rustling through the leaves as if the forest itself was sighing in relief. The air felt lighter, and for the first time, Claire sensed a stillness in the valley. She knelt by the grave, placing her hand on the weathered marker. "Rest now, Eliza. You are free." With the dawn breaking over the horizon, Claire made her way back to Ravenswood, her heart full of hope. She dedicated her thesis to the spirits of Black Hollow, ensuring that the truth of their stories would resonate for generations to come. The curse had been broken, and the valley, once a place of despair, was now a testament to the power of love, memory, and the unbreakable bond of sisterhood. From that day forward, Black Hollow transformed. The whispers faded into the wind, and the mists that had once clung to the valley dissipated, revealing its beauty. Locals began to visit, finding solace in the tranquil woods rather than fear. As for Claire, she became a beacon of light in Ravenswood, sharing her journey and honoring the spirits who had guided her. The curse of Black Hollow was no longer a haunting tale but a story of redemption and hope, one that would not be forgotten. And in the whispers of the wind, one could still hear Eliza's gentle voice, reminding all who passed through that even in darkness, there is light to be found.